Welcome back. Now, brain drain is a big issue in Nigeria's health sector at the moment, considering the high number of medical professionals who are migrating to Western countries in search of better working conditions. This migration has led to a severe shortage of doctors and nurses in hospitals across Nigeria. At the moment, doctors to patient ratio in the country stands at 1 doctor to 5,000 patients. 1 doctor to 5,000 patients. Now, the World Health Organization recommended ratio is 1 doctor to 600 patients. Now, that tells you how bad the situation is in Nigeria. It's literally the same story across sub-Saharan Africa. Yet, richer countries continue to poach medical personnel from African countries like Nigeria. To address the problem, the House of Representatives is currently working on a bill to amend the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria Act to stop the migration of Nigerian-trained medical practitioners. The proposed bill, which has passed a second reading, is to prevent Nigeria-trained medical or dental practitioners from being granted full licenses until they have worked for a minimum of 5 years in the country, as part of measures to address brain drain in the sector. According to Ganu Johnson, who is a sponsor of the bill, it is only fair for medical practitioners who enjoy taxpayer subsidies on their training to give back to society. Well, the issue, of course, as I said, is generating a lot of controversy. Naturally, some individuals and groups have expressed their displeasure over the bill, saying it's an infringement on the fundamental human rights of doctors in the country. But global health experts have expressed serious worry over the issue, saying if developed countries continue to poach medical workers from poorer countries, the situation could trigger a more serious health crisis in less developed countries. In fact, some health experts have described the poaching as a crime. Perhaps heeding the warning, the United Kingdom has placed Nigeria and some other developing countries on the red list of countries that should not be actively targeted for recruitment by health and social care employers. But what difference will this make? Joining me to discuss this worrisome development is Dr. Toluwani Onrugbeja, who is a Senior Registrar, Department of Orthopedics and Trauma, Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, LASUT. Also joining us is a medical practitioner, Dr. Tuyi Mebaodu. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program. Let me start with you, Dr. Onrugbeja. Let's talk about this bill. What do you make of it?
The bill is one that identifies the problem, a very crucial problem. However, it's not well thought out, because the preferred solution here does not solve the problem in any way. And if anything, it may actually produce the exact opposite of what is intended to achieve. Right? I would not want to go into analyzing the specifics yet, but generally speaking, the bill thought of, it's tantamount to slavery, modern day slavery, and some of us perceive it as a direct target at medical practitioners. Because talking about subsidized education, we all enjoyed subsidized education. Every university graduate in Nigeria that went through a public system has enjoyed this same subsidy. If anything, medical practitioners pay the most in most universities. Our school fees are higher than the average university graduates. So why then are we being targeted here? Other professionals are also leaving the country. Why are you targeting medical practitioners?
Question of, do you think this is a question of medical personnel now being targeted, or that the medical profession now is being targeted, or that this is just a moral issue, and that whether we like it or not, the role doctors play in society is very important? Yes, you could argue that they may not be well appreciated here, but it also raises a moral and ethical issue if our doctors are just poached the way they are being poached now. At the end of the day, we're left with nothing.
Okay, definitely, doctors are being pushed. Our IT personnel are being pushed. Nurses are being pushed. Lawyers are being pushed. Professionals all around the country are being pushed. You should give them something to keep them here. We don't then put a barricade and say you cannot go out. That is not how to treat people who you think are that important.
But in this case, they are not saying you cannot go out. They are saying, look, at least do 5 years here before you go out.
Let's then spread it around and let's see if it works.
All right. I'll come back to you. There's still a problem with your network. I hope we're able to sort it out. But let me come to you, Dr. Mebanwadu. You've been a medical practitioner for several years now. You practice here, and give me your own take on this bill.
Expose the depth of poverty of thinking in governance, the depth of poverty of thinking in politics and public space. You used one word, poaching. No. It's the developing countries themselves that are pushing their doctors and experts away from the country. They are the ones sending them away. They are the ones creating conditions that become so terrible for them to work in this part of the world, even when they so desire to do that. And then it's just like at the same time trying to beat a child and telling the child never to cry. Why do I say this? First and foremost, Ghanaian Solomon came up and said that he wants doctors to stay in Nigeria for 5 years. And he gave just one reason, because he felt that they are being subsidized in the payment of their training. I have younger ones that are studying medicine. I also, have even daughter that is started to become a doctor. I know what it costs. I'm asking the question, where is the subsidy coming from?
No, but
now,
we can't deny the fact that there's subsidy. There's subsidy in education in this country.
Hold on. Now, I have, apart from studying in Nigeria, I've studied elsewhere, okay? My postgraduate was done in Sweden, okay? In Uppsala University, number 10 in Europe, and still in the same medicine. I didn't pay a dime.
You probably got a scholarship.
No. Just hold on. So because when they trade lies and want to make it the national discourse and make it the truth, it becomes so difficult. They have to go and sit down and do a comparative analysis, okay, of how doctors are trained elsewhere. The model they bring up to us is the model of US, where, of course, you have to look for money and they keep increasing everything about education. But we have countries, even including Cuba. Okay, are you listening to me? Even including Cuba, that is having one of the best set of doctors and had to actually donate doctors to Italy when they had crisis during the COVID problem. And they are being trained free of charge, everybody. So now the big question in this country is this. First and foremost, you are having a ratio of about one doctor to, you said 5,000
patients.
Some say 8,000. And you are missing, and then you have a gap, okay, of about 12,000 doctors you have to train every year. And your capacity to train is just 3,000 doctors. That's the maximum. The maximum capacity you can train in Nigeria is 3,000. You have repeated strikes, lecturer not satisfied, everywhere not equipped. Now, let me also surprise you. When these young doctors finished, go ask Dr. Orugbeja. These young doctors, they are still looking around, influences, trying to push their parents, everybody for influences for them to do housemanship. Even those that are finishing, you are not placing them in housemanship. Those that want to do postgraduate study, there's no space to train them, no enough space to train them. Now, these doctors will finish, they will stay 1, 2, 3 years. Try hustling for housemanship, hustling for it, some even up to 5 years, hustling for training to become consultants. And then now you want them to stay here and be looking for what, Abi? So this guy will now have to sit down and start writing exams. So let us dwell on the factor that the developing countries are pushing their health workers away. It's not poaching. I mean,
if you ask me, I would say that's semantics. Whether we like it or not, it's poaching anyway, because it's poaching. I mean, it's poaching. But what would you say about even some of these global health experts who have said, look, this is a crime, and that if it continues, the world might be facing a very serious health crisis in the future? Because, look, already you have a terrible situation in less developed countries. We're not talking about Nigeria alone here. I mean, the statistics are just the same across sub-Saharan Africa. So I understand this problem, the problem of African countries not taking care of good care of their medical personnel now. But how do you address this ethical and moral issue of doctors leaving places where they are badly needed and going to places where, you know, whether we like it or not, they are not most needed, if you like?
No, you see, in 2007, you know, in one of the courses I attended in Harvard, you know, we're looking at how to strengthen, you know, human resources for health. And this problem came up 2007 now. This problem came up. And we have to actually start looking at what are the issues. Even America itself is having shortage of health practitioners. America is having shortage. In fact, if you look at the country that is leading in terms of ratio of health doctors to, you have to go to Asia countries, you know, before you see that high number. Even America is at number 3, okay? Now, the question is that, what do we do? And then it became a moral issue, like rightly pointed out during the discussion, that what should doctors now leave, or should they be recruiting actively? Now, the thing became so manifest due to COVID, and somebody has to come out and say, listen, that we're going to do a code of conduct for health workforce support and safeguard list. They have to actually start creating health worker support and safeguard list, okay? And then in that list, they have 3 codes, either amber color, red color, or green, as the case may be.
Dr. Onwugbeja, let me ask you this. How do you think this problem can be resolved? Because whether we like it or not, this is a problem. Our doctors are leaving. How do we stop this brain drain from happening?
All right, thank you. That's a good question. Same question that is plaguing every stakeholder in the country, in Nigeria. I think the answer is simple. This is a question of the pull and the push, right? There are factors that are pulling doctors to stay back here. The fact that we are patriotic, we are trained here, we want to see how people do better, we have our families here. Then our welfare would also keep us here. What are the push? Insecurity, unemployment, poor welfareism. Those are the things pushing us out of the system. The same thing applies on the other side. You have the pull and the push as well, right? So we have factors out there that are encouraging doctors to opt for going out of the country. Better welfare package, better job satisfaction, better working conditions. So why can't we, what says we can't have the same thing here? Right? So why can't we improve the working conditions, and not just for doctors, for all health workers, right? Why can't we improve the working conditions? Why can't we invest in the health sector? Why can't we have better working facilities in our hospitals? Why can't we have better job satisfaction? Why can't we create the avenue for this job satisfaction? Look at the hospitals, very crowded. You have patients complaining. You go home knowing that you could have done better for your patients. At the end of the day, you can't feel satisfied when doing the same job. What about your career progression? You see, young graduates can't find slots for housemanship. They struggle to get that done. I can remember many of my time, and many of my colleagues who had to go to several states to write exams just to get a slot for housemanship. Same thing in NYC. In fact, I had to be pushed out of NYC camp. I remember my year, right? Because my license was not ready yet, and also there's something I applied for several months prior to youth service call-up. You know, the things you find that your career progression is hampered at every step. Things that should be seamless, right? Plus for residency is another issue, right? It's now easier because so many doctors are out there and places are opening up for residency, but it's still not easy for many people, right? So if we can have these 3 things I've highlighted, okay, better welfare for health workers in general, career progressions. You know, some of my colleagues have not even gotten their license for this year, and this is why in April already, right? So things that can be done seamlessly. We find out that we have to struggle at every step, right? Talk about those of us in a residency training program, very little support. We have to invest a lot to get these things, to get our training done, and we hustle to get patients. Some of us are in surgery department, also to get patients up in the theater because we leave the system to it. Some of them will not find themselves in the theater, and we need all these things for our training to keep going. So we find that the system is individually driven, right? The system is not encouraging, the system is not working. And when you have such a situation, it is discouraging for the average health worker. It's discouraging for the average doctor. You see your colleagues out there. I was talking to some of my colleagues in the UK in residency training, and they said they don't spend a dime on their training. Any pound spent is refunded. And most of them don't even down to their logos, they don't have to buy anything. Right? They are encouraged to get into training, they are encouraged to practice. And when you see that, and you look at your home country, and the decision is easy for most of us. Why don't you just go to where you are better appreciated and you have better working conditions, you have better working, right?
All right.
So the solution here is for our people to sit down and see how we can. We will definitely not be able to get a level playing ground, right? Because we're dealing with world-developed countries. But can we bridge the gap a bit so that the other factors that would encourage people to stay here would then come in, and we find out that more people will stay here. In fact, other people that are out there might even be encouraged to come back to the country.
Let me also ask you this. For these developed countries now, what do you think they can also do? Because apart from what we can do, what do you think they can also do? Because we've had suggestions of, look, some of the aids that are coming to Africa, why not use that, for instance, to fund doctors' training? Why not use that to probably help to pay doctors' salaries and all of that? Why not use some of those aids now to improve doctors' welfare? I mean, some of these aids now that are coming from developed world. So what role do you think they also have to play in this?
All right. Definitely, we can play a role of mentorship, right? You can look up to them, learn from their system, and import their ideas down here, right? It's really up to us to step up our game. But I'll tell you what, the other speaker mentioned the fact that people in the United States and the United Kingdom are still suffering from shortage of doctors, right? You mentioned earlier the recommended ratio of doctor to patient, right? And last I checked, Netherlands is the closest to the ideal ratio. You get to some states and you find out that that's two specialists in particular in the whole state, right? And maybe about 80 doctors, that is medical officers in the whole state. Clearly, the ratio is far beyond. I would put it as with considering other states aside from Lagos State and other figures that are put around to be close to 1 doctor to 20,000 patients. That is absurd, right? You now have other countries trying to meet up with the recommended ratio of one doctor to 500 patients. You wouldn't expect them to stop recruiting doctors because some countries cannot manage theirs, right? So everyone has to, in a way, fend for him or herself. The United Kingdom is doing very well when it comes to training of doctors. I'm aware that there's a program, for example, called MTI, where they help to upgrade the training of medical doctors. And so the program runs for about a year, and then they ensure that at the end of the program, you return to your native country, right? So programs, you have courses where they come down here to partner with us or to train us, and we have this partnership. That's, I think, we can foster better relationship when it comes to partnership with some of these countries and what they have over there. You know, they can give us equipment to improve our facilities, partnerships, and this can be worked on, right? But I don't see them sending down doctors to come and help us work here or stopping immigration of doctors over to their country, because they are also trying to meet up their targets.
Yes.
Right. So, on the areas of welfareism, we have to sort ourselves. Right. They're not going to pay our doctors' salaries. They're not going to pay our nurses' salaries on our behalf. We have to sort ourselves in this regard.
Yeah. All right, Dr. Toluwani Orungbeja, who is a senior registrar at the Department of Orthopedics at Lagos State University. Hello. Thank you very much for joining us in the program. I think that's where we'll just have to leave it. Earlier, we had Dr. Tuyume Bamadu. Unfortunately, we've not been able to reconnect with him. We'll take a short break now, and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Don't go away.
Opinions are free. Facts are sacred. The truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On DEJI360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
DEJI360, dissecting the issues.